Do you have a service of closing lead gen clients? I'm not sure what that means, BB. Do I have a service for closing lead gen clients, or I'm not sure I understand the question, but if that's what you're asking, do I have a service for closing lead gen clients? I mean, I do that in-house. I still do all my own sales, although my new agency that I just launched on Monday, I'll talk about it more later, another time. But that I fully plan on hiring a full-time salesperson, but not. I mean, I've got to get some revenue in that agency first, but that is one of my top priorities is to hire a salesperson. Right. So, but no, I still do all the closing myself. So I mentioned this at the beginning of today's webinar. I use High Level. Again, check it out, semanticmastery.com/high level. You got a 14-day free trial. If you're only doing it for prospecting and sales for your own agency, you only need one seat. So you don't need the agency level account or all that other stuff. I used just the $97 a month High Level account for my own stuff for many, many months. Now I'm on it's called a High Level Pro. It's $500 a month, but that's for a very specific reason. Anyway, yeah, I mean, I just do exactly what I said at the beginning of this, which is I do cold emails, direct mail, and voicemail drops right now is my three primary methods for prospecting. And then once a conversation gets started, which is for me, that's the primary objective for the prospecting campaigns, is to just get a conversation started. The hardest thing that I have found when you're trying to sell marketing services is getting a conversation started, because as soon as a prospect, a business owner, thinks that it's a solicitation call, they put up their defenses and the conversation tanks immediately, right? It goes downhill right off the bat because they smell a sale coming. And so, I found over the years, the best way to get a conversation started, once I get a conversation started, if I can get a conversation started, then I can typically do fairly well. So for me, when it comes to lead gen stuff, like selling leads, then what I often do is we'll approach a contractor about, asking them questions about what they're, if they are accepting new jobs in a particular area or whatever, and then once they reply back, then I'll send them, basically and I've talked about this in video lead gen system, guys, but for lead gen stuff, I'll say, hey, are you doing jobs in, whatever city? If they reply back, and I'll say, okay, well, I've got several jobs that need to be completed. It's kind of hard to explain though. Can I send you a video showing you what I've got? And so essentially asking, and it's whether this is email or SMS, it doesn't matter. It's either way. But once I get their permission, when they reply back and say, sure, go ahead, or yes, some sort of positive intent reply, which by the way, all this can be automated in High Level, right? Because they have intent triggers and all, essentially if somebody replied back with yes or sure, go ahead, send it, anything like that with a positive intent, then the automation will send them back another email or an SMS, depending on which medium we were which platform we were using, communication channel we were using. And it'll send them back with a link to a landing page where it'll show like, hey, I've got leads in this area right now, and I'd like to give you 3 of them for free. Or right now I'm doing 5 for free. So I say 5 leads for free. If you're interested, just fill out the form below, which is a very simple contact form. And then they fill out that contact form and it notifies me that I've got a new form submission. And then I call them to follow up, say, hey, okay, great. Let me just confirm your service area, what type of jobs you're looking for. And I'm going to enter you into my system, and I'll send you 5 leads. At the end of those 5 leads, I'm going to follow up with you to find out if you want to continue working together. That's how I do it for leads. Doing something similar for clients, which I'm trying to take clients on for my new agency stuff, but it works really, really well. And here's the thing, like I said, I've set up this funnel, and I talked about this in PoFu Live last year for 2020. And all of what I just talked about is explicitly laid out in the PoFu Live recordings, which are still available. So if you want this exact method, then go buy the PoFu Live 2020 recordings, and you'll see exactly how I built this in High Level and exactly what I'm doing, my messaging and everything. Okay. But it works really well. And here's what I've learned though, is I'd set up all these automations and everything to try to get potential lead buyers to go through that funnel to where I would only, basically they would get entered into my lead distribution system, which I'm using Lead Simplify, Mike Martin's Lead Simplify. That's what I use for lead distribution and everything. And I had set everything up hoping to get people to go through all that funnel, like to where it would be automated until they had signed up, and then I would call them. That's not how it works. Unfortunately, you know, after, I mean, the prospecting machine works really well, but I've only had 3 people since I started in September actually go through the full funnel process and book a call with me and all that other stuff. Generally what happens, like almost always what happens, is they'll start through that funnel sequence, right? All the automations. And at some point the conversation gets transferred to me because, you know, they ask a question or something that the automation can't handle. And so I end up having to jump into the conversation and taking it from there, which is, it's fine because at least they're intrigued at that point. They're interested. And so it's not, that's the hardest part, as I mentioned before, was getting the conversation started. Well, at this point, the conversation has been started through an automation, through an automated fashion, right? Through automation, it's been started. And then I take over from there and jump into the conversation where appropriate and then take it from there. And it's been so much easier that way for me. And at first, like I said, when I set all that up, I was hoping to get people to go all the way through the automations without having personal contact with me. But then after I realized that I was going to have to take, you know, jump into the conversation before most people would go all the way through the funnel, I've realized now that now I don't even wait. Like as soon as they reply back to the front end of the campaign, especially because all I'm dealing with is tree guys now and landscaping contractors, is I just jump on the phone with them immediately. Like as soon as I see that they've engaged with my sequencing, my messaging, my automation, then I jump right in and just take over. And I'll pick up the phone and call in a heartbeat now, and just and jump on the phone with them and try it, because it shortcuts the process for me and I get to a sale quicker, if that makes sense. So the automations and all are great. And for those that make it all the way through, it's fantastic, but it's so rare that I use all of that automation just to get the conversation started. Kind of, it eliminates those people that aren't interested. Those that are going to ask questions, and then I can jump in and take over the conversation at that point and steer the conversation in the right direction. So anyway, hopefully that made some sense.